Right, you guys take turns, huh?
Telling you, we get either just a long mouse
I
cord.
know. Your rubber band. Pelter.
One of my kids would be up there for like a minute.
Yeah.
I'm so used to touchscreen and everything.
Yeah.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. Let's call the meeting of the City of Tonawanda Council to order. Can you please call the roll?
Nocera,
Here.
Braunstrau,
Here.
Mylum,
Here.
Cook.
Here. Okay, so at 6:15, we have a meeting with Tom Jewell from Jewell Community Power. And at 7:30, we have a meeting with William Brown from Innovative Mechanical System, who sent a letter of interest relative to Spalding. I just want to make sure that everybody has a copy of the Jewel presentation and the letter of interest from Michael Brown. Does everybody have that? If not, I can.
I don't have the,
Okay,
I don't have it handy.
Madam President, I can share the JAL presentation. I have that email.
perfect, okay. I'll get somebody to make copies of this. So the
I
council
can
has
get
it.
it on
Maybe between the two of us, if you want.
Cool, thank you.
You got it? Do you have it?
Close hearing.
Okay, we'll get somebody to make copies. Okay. All right, let's go through the agenda. So today we have also the state of the city by the mayor. Mayor, you have everything that you need to move forward. Okay. You're gonna read all this tonight? Right. All right, on the resolutions. Council minutes,
I'll take the minutes, Madam President.
Mr. Rottenstrau. Any questions on that? Okay. Next is the resolution from Jason Lamonaco for the contract for the CDBG sanitary sewer line, which is the change order. $3,831.80. It's a credit. Very rarely do we see those. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Would like it.
I'll take that one as well, Madam President.
Okay. Next is the resolution amending the 2022 general fund operating budget for the reassessment project. Questions, comments? Would like it?
Take that one as
Mr.
well.
Rostrow?
I know.
All right, at our last meeting, we talked about a resolution increasing, what's that? Increasing the hourly rates for a matron and a crossing in the crossing guard. Do we want to do council on this? Everybody go with it?
Yes.
Okay. Mayor, do you have exec? Anything for exec? Council, do we have exec? Okay,
Nothing for me.
no exec, okay. That was quick. All right, let's go around the room. We'll start with Carl, Mr. Nocera.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to just start with saying thank you very much to our DPW for clearing the streets, and they know and they're aware of another impending snowfall that we're going to be having this week. And I'm sure that they'll be up to the task once again. And of course, thank you for having a new business that moved into the city of Tonawanda. And I'd like to welcome them as well. And if we have any doubts, our city is growing with new businesses that are seeking to move in here. We've had a business from City of Buffalo, business from Town of Tonawanda move in, donut craze. So it looks great for us. So we're a very attractive city to move into.
All right, thank you. Mr. Rounstrau.
I really don't have anything this week, other than I went to my first traffic and safety committee. It's great to get to know everybody on there. Nothing really new came up. There were some questions about some barriers blocking around the new Fletcher School with construction, but they're working with that with the school. And that's really it this week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mylum.
I don't have anything to report at this point. Thank you, Madam President.
Mayor, anything for around the room?
Yeah, I also want to say congratulations to Sanitation T. It was really kind of a refreshing conversation with them. They're right across on Hines Street, across from the Spalding site. And I let her know that there's 3 new businesses, a set of letters of intent on top of Cat B in there. So there's going to be traffic in the future. Told them, hang on, hang your head up high and think positive, because these people are going to need somewhere to go, grab some meat. Maybe they can move it from T and maybe add some things later on that would interest other people, that they can stay around. And I wish them the best of luck. So welcome to the city of Tonawanda.
All right, anything else? So I just want to give you an update on our LED streetlight conversion project. We are at 82% converted. They do anticipate that the project will be completed by the end of February. So we may get some calls that lights are out, streets haven't been converted. There is a list that is maintained in the mayor's office.
That is correct.
So if you get any calls, just send them to the mayor, so they can be added to the list. And they are doing weekly construction meetings, so they'll go through that list and update it accordingly. I saw in the minutes that they did talk about the concerns about some streetlights that have not been converted and the outages. So they updated the list, got everything back to you. And I believe everybody on the council has the list as well. Anything else from that meeting, the construction meeting?
No, they're being very diligent, and I really enjoy working with them, because at first we had quite a few lights out. I'm talking a lot of lights out. My concern was that they weren't just the digital ones, the newer ones, they're both old and new, were out. But we've got to work on a better system, and they seem to have it in place now. And I'm seeing how fast their turnaround time is of a complaint versus making it a non-complaint. So we'll see.
Okay, perfect. So last week we completed the interviews with the first ward candidates. We had 8 total apply. We interviewed 6, 2 had withdrawn their name. I just want to open it up to the floor to the council on thoughts moving forward. Anybody? Mr. Nocera?
I'm prepared to vote. I think we have enough information from the candidates who got up in front of us and the city, and we listened to their answers to some very difficult questions. Some presented themselves extremely well, and those are the folks that should be in consideration for the position.
Mr. Armstrong?
I agree with Mr. Nocera. I think we've had some great candidates. I got to thank them all for stepping up. It's it was a great opportunity to have them up here and speak to everybody. It's great to see that many people interested. I think there was definitely some outliers. All of them would be worthy candidates, but I'm ready to discuss who my favorites were.
Mr. Mylan?
I said at the end of the last interview that we have a difficult decision to make. And I think each candidate brought something to the table that was worthy of consideration. And if there was a way to take that quality from each of them and put them into one, we could do that. We would have a fantastic representative for the first ward. However, I have selected who the name I would like to put forward. And I'm ready for any discussion that is ready to be brought to the table.
All right. Do we want to discuss it now?
We have a
Sure.
meeting in 5 minutes, but we can, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So I agree. I thought each of the candidates, I appreciate everybody for coming forward during a time where sometimes some of our races are uncontested. We had 8 individuals come forward and say, hey, I'm interested. And that speaks volumes. So any council member can put forward a resolution. I would hope that we could get this voted on at our next meeting and we move forward.
So one of the things that led me to my decision was, I'm gonna just say that I would like to recommend Jerry Frizzell. And my consideration is, or my recommendation for that is for a couple different reasons. Excuse me. Having gone through an election cycle 3 times now myself, it would be wonderful to come in and stand here for 10 minutes, be asked 5 questions and be appointed, and not have to go through the door knocking, the petitions, you name it, that comes along with the campaign. Mr. Frizzell did that and had 400 folks in that ward vote for him. None of the other candidates can say that they have that kind of support. None of the other candidates have had 1 vote cast for them. If they wanted this so bad, where were they in November last year? Where were they last year? Why now? And that was kind of my question that I asked all of them. Why you? Why now? And I feel that Mr. Frizzell, due to his already stepping up, putting his name out there, going through all of the requirements that are required to get your name on a ballot, and then to garner that many votes. He is the reason that's the reason that I'm going with him as my recommendation. It's not to impugn anyone else that ran. It's not to take anything away from anybody else that ran. That is the reason that I feel that he is the candidate, because he has gotten votes from folks in that ward already. And we have a very busy schedule coming up here as a council. He has experience with the contracts that we're going to be needing to be looking at. He's got experience with, as a department head, looking at how things work within the city. And kind of on the other side of this table. And I would welcome that experience and that insight to that position.
Mr. Nocera?
Well, there's a few points I would like to make, and Monica is my choice, strictly because her outstanding presentation of herself, her background, her resume, her desire to work hard, her knowledge of the first ward. If the first ward wanted somebody else during the last couple of campaigns, they would have chosen somebody else, but they voted in Mr. Newman. And I believe that the first ward deserves to at least have been heard on who they have chosen. They didn't choose Jerry.
400 people did.
Okay, but it's still, he did not get chosen.
400 to 0.
I respectfully, understand your thought on this, but it's still a loss at the ballot box. He did not put up a good showing enough with the folks that did come out and vote. He lost twice.
Mr. Armstrong?
He only ran once.
You can only run once. You know, I agree with, Dave. I feel the same way. I had a bunch of notes that I pulled from a bunch of different places and I have some points to make. I think, take this off because I am a little mumbly. Out of all the candidates, like Dave said, they all had some great merit. I think they all brought something great to the table. But again, it does come down to the opportunity right now. And I agree with you that Monica is a great opportunity as well. I think she's spectacular. She gave a great showing. She spoke to it, but I do think it comes down to is we do have somebody that did run for the election, albeit he did come in second. He did run in the election. He showed the effort. He put the effort in. He talked to people. He reached out to people in the first ward. We have several candidates that did take this opportunity to come up and speak, and they weren't there. When it comes down to it, we're faced with the decision of who we can put into the council that'll best serve our city and our council. None of us live in the first ward. I mean, I do respect the fact that Jen is our citywide council person, and you should have some say in this as well. And you probably have more of a say in regards to the first ward than the rest of us do. But the fact of the matter is we're facing 7 months of decision making. We're facing budgets coming up. And we have the opportunity to bring on somebody that has experience, somebody that has demonstrated leadership within city and working for the city. He was a department head. He's worked budgets. He knows the people that he's talking to. He knows who to come to. It is up to the people to make a decision, and they'll have that opportunity in November. But I think we have an opportunity to pick somebody that's, we're not filling a temporary secretary or replacement for the short term. We're looking for somebody to fill a very important position. And we have somebody willing to do it, that wants to do it, and is willing to continue forward and run again to continue that. I just think that shows a lot of determination on this part. I think it shows a lot of ambition, and I think that's definitely worth consideration. He has experience. He has 30 years of experience working for the government. He's gone out and talked to people. It comes down to it too. We're paying somebody, I don't know what it breaks down to for the 7 months, but $7,000 a year to come in and potentially learn on the job and fill in, or somebody that has some experience and that can hit the ground running. And it was a close call again with all of them. I think Monica was one of my top choices as well, but I really believe that Jerry has the edge on this, and he's the right person for this job. And I think in February, people can make a decision one way or the other, who they think their choice is. But I think we have the responsibility as the council to pick the person that's going to serve our city to the best of our knowledge and the best of his ability, and serve the council and be somebody that we can work with.
Well, with
So-
all due respect.
Wait, I just want to get my thoughts
Sure, go
in.
ahead.
So politics aside here, I looked at and reviewed each of the interviews that we had. And look, I know this is not an easy decision that any of us make, and rest assured, in the public, this decision is not going to divide us. Monica presented very well. She interviewed very well. To say that only one person has leadership and working with the city, Monica's worked for the city since 2013 in her capacity. So, and I had conversations with Monica and Jerry, and ultimately, Monica carries a very impressive resume, and I'm not saying Jerry doesn't, but this decision, didn't come lightly for any of us, but I fully support Monica. And that's kind of where we're at. So if in the event it's a tie, the mayor breaks a tie. And it sounds like that's kind of the road we're going down. So why don't each of us put forward a resolution that we would vote on at the next meeting? And, let the chips fall where they may. These two candidates are very much in comparison to each other. And no matter which way we go, we are going to have a strong voice for the first word. I fully understand that. So we'll go from there. Mayor, did you have anything else?
No, I just wanted to thank the candidates. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for people in the city, and we got all those candidates that came out, and I want to say thank you. It's not easy to come in front of this group. Everybody's staring at you, to come up here and talk in front of everybody, but just wanted to say thank you. I think it was fantastic. A lot of them presented themselves very well, spoke very well. I watched their demeanor, how they spoke, how they walked, how they dressed. I think it's all very important. And I'm going to put that in my final decision when it comes to the next meeting.
Anything else on this?
No, it's interesting because I can agree with everything that everybody's saying.
I agree, yeah.
And it's, I even texted Jenna today, why can't we just leave this open until November? But because it's that hard of a decision. I'm going to tell you, I've lost sleep over this. And I don't know, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, this is a tough decision and that's why the voters elected us to make these tough decisions. But we'll move on from it. In the event it is a tie, the mayor would break the tie and we would then swear in the next council person. Mayor, did you have anything?
No, I just didn't want to prolong this process over and over from meeting to meeting. I was hoping that we would get this finalized tonight so we can move on.
Right.
I wanted to fill that void in the first ward as soon as possible. And it's been, now we're going to go another meeting, and I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it end tonight, to be honest with you. And
Mr. City Attorney, can you come forward? Would there be anything that would prohibit us from putting forth a resolution?
I did have one written up before it came, and I just kind of got the feeling that it might come down to this.
Could we put forward a resolution and vote on it tonight at the regular meeting?
Under the charter, yes, any council member can bring a motion at the meeting.
Got it.
Anything coming before the meeting, sure.
That's, if everybody else is in agreement. Actually, City Attorney, Mike, Mr. Rowe. What is the process for that? Is it an immediate tiebreaker if it comes to that, or is this a matter of the minutes being approved and going on next week? My only question is because the mayor isn't generally a voting member of the staff. And again, I understand we don't want to prolong it, but what is the protocol?
Precise requirements under our charter with the tie vote would occur. Again, my recommendation in the memo earlier was to vote on the resolutions. In the event it's a tie, as soon as the minutes are certified and presented to the mayor, he would do basically a letter. And if there's two resolutions, he would either vote for one and vote against the other, or he has the option of voting against both resolutions. He feels neither candidate is worthy of the position. So my recommendation would be upon certification of the minutes by the mayor, when he should cast his vote.
well, that's what I will do then. What I will do is wait, review the minutes, and then make my decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so it sounds like so we have, and Mr. Clerk, follow me here. So resolution 5. Resolved that the Common Council of the City of Tonawanda hereby duly appoints Jerry Frizzell, effective immediately, to fill said vacancy as the council member for the first ward in the City of Tonawanda for the term to expire following the certification by the Erie County Board of Elections of the results of the November 8th, 2022 special election. I'm assuming that date is correct. That I haven't checked it, but that's election day.
Yeah.
Okay. Pursuant to New York State election law.
Madam President, is that
November 8th is election.
typed? I mean, I can grab that and then,
Yes.
You have to do a separate one for the non.
Yes, and then we're gonna have a separate resolution,
Number 6.
appointing- number 6, appointing Monica Lalanich.
You wrote that out?
I don't know. Did you get that?
Well, I'm gonna come in and get the,
Okay.
you have it typed up there?
Yes,
So I'll grab that, I'll make copies, and then, did you want Mike to take a look at that, or is
Yes.
everything?
Mike and Brittany, if you can take a look. So we'll have 2 separate resolutions, okay?
Okay. Yep, I'll be right there to pick it. pick it
Yeah,
up.
sure. I'll hand that to Mike. All right. That one, and then we'll make another one for. Well, we'll also need another one for Monica. Okay. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. All right. Anything else? Anything else?
No,
Okay.
I don't want to prolong it.
Okay. All right. Tom, is Tom Jewel here? Come on, you can come forward. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Well, it's Tom Hardy. like
Hardy.
Hardy was.
Oh, okay.
But I'm with Jewel, and we work together with NYSERDA and the Public Service Commission in New York.
Perfect.
We're a private company. I live right here. See, my grandfather, my father, and my uncles all work about a half a mile from here. So I'm a local guy. I
Okay.
appreciate the time. I know it's a difficult time for the board, for the whole city. So I appreciate a few minutes. I'll keep it very short.
Yeah, I just want to introduce you to everybody, okay? To my right is Second Ward Councilman Carl Nocera.
Good evening.
I'm Jenna Cook, Council President. To my left is Mayor John White. Third Ward Council Member Sean Rautenstraw. Fourth Ward Council Member Dave Mylum. The floor is yours.
So this is a conversation that we're having in Western New York right now. PCA program is a way of reducing electric bills for every resident and small business in the city. That's the objective. We like to use renewable energy in doing so. So that's what makes us different than National Grid or NICEAG. We work in partnership. Is it National Grid here? Right. So we work in partnership with both of those utilities. So the program is designed, it's been around for about 8 or 9 years, and there's quite a few people involved in it, probably over 1 million, 2 million people throughout the United States. So this is just coming into Western New York, but for the last 5-6 years, it's been in New York State. And there's about 200 to 300 communities in New York State that are involved in this program. There's no cost to the city. There's no cost to the taxpayers. There's no effort by the city as far as putting staff on this program. The city would bring on a program administrator, which is what Jewel is. Ideally, you would pick us if you decided to go, but there are others that do it. I went with Jewel because they are focused more in this part of the state. The others are more downstate, but they're all very good. And you can also do it yourself. So it's important to know that. But the program works like this, and I will send each of you an email that'll get into more detail. But in brief outline of this right now is the objective is to utilize renewable energy. That's hydro, solar, wind, and geothermal. The programs that we have in this part of the state are more hydro, more small hydro. We're not talking about Niagara Falls, but we're talking about river hydro and some solar as well. This is not putting in anything like that into the city. This is utilizing what's already in the grid right now, okay? It's a little bit difficult to explain because it's based on renewable energy credits, but there is an excess of renewable power, and there will be over the next 10 to 15 years in New York State. So we tap into that renewable power. We work with National Grid, and they continue to bill it out, they continue to invoice. So if this city were to go with this program, we would have a 5-month process of outreach to all of the citizens. And that's basically an educational outreach, okay, where we explain, sometimes we come in, whatever works for the city or the town. We come in and speak here, we answer questions on Zoom. Many cities, we go into a recreational center or something like that, we answer questions, but this was on for 5 months. So the city, all you have to do is say, we're gonna go with this program. And that's a 5-month exploratory process. There's no commitment whatsoever. At the end of that 5 months, the city can say this isn't for us, or it is, okay? And then what we do is we utilize a buying process that is used in heavy industry or large businesses. We go out for bid. And the generators of this electricity are only based in New York State. So it's great for business. And the key thing that brought me into this program is the citizens, the renters, the low income, high income, small businesses, they can choose to participate in this or not. And throughout the whole course of this program, they can jump in or out if they feel it's not appropriate. So in other words, in some cities, we just signed up the city of Rochester. So there's 250,000 people there. The city just signed up for this program. We're into the Finger Lakes. We have many, many places in Albany and downstate, down near Westchester and into Long Island. So I have a great testimonial list that I will be forwarding to all of you, so you can check on that. We work with NYSERDA. This program is weighed the most heavily by NYSERDA for grant money. So I think Rochester just got a $250,000 grant because they brought the CCA program in. LED lights, electric buses, all these things add up. John Kuzaleski is the agent here for NYSERDA, and we work closely with him, so he could fill you in if you have any more questions on that. So there's grant money available. But the key to this program, and the key to success, is to get as many people as you possibly can. And then the ESCO, Energy Service Company, the generator of electricity, bids on the business. And those ESCOs are vetted by the state and they're vetted by us, okay? So this is a very secure program. In other words, the state is only involved in this because they sort of ensure to make sure that it works and it runs properly. So it's regulated by the state. So we're under a tight review board, really, when we bring a program like this to the city. But it works very well, and it's a way of lowering the price. And so they bid on the business after 5 months. The town basically right now, if you were to say we're interested in this, the city of North Tonawanda, I'm meeting with them on Thursday for the second time, and I think that they're going to be going this way. So they wanted me to chat with the city of Tonawanda, and we've already talked to the town of Tonawanda. But if you join these communities together, you even get more buying power, okay? And we're doing that in many areas in New York State. So in other words, if there was something, we're talking to City of Niagara Falls. City of Niagara Falls would be interested in joining on this. Village of Youngstown has expressed an interest. The town of Porter has expressed an interest. So if we brought all those 5 or 6 communities together, we would have a really, really good shot at getting a really low rate, which you would just look at the end of 5 months. And if we didn't have that rate, and it wasn't in the renewable energy percentage that we hope to get, you would just be able to, you'd say, we're not interested. It's not a problem. There's no cost, there's no commitment. But what you have to do in the beginning for the state is you have to get a local law signed that you're going to go through this process. And then you have to sign up a program administrator. So you sign up the program administrator, you sign the local law, that gives you the right to explore this process. That's all it is. It's an exploration. And then we, or whoever you choose, goes and does the work for the 5 months. We contact every citizen, every renter, every low income, everybody in the state, okay? The other part of this program is really the great winner. So the first part is we get a low rate. We lock it in for 2 years. So there's no volatility. And then we bring in a thing called community solar. The community solar is a guaranteed discount of 8 to 10%. Again, on top of that bill. So you bring those two together and you have a really powerful program. Ideally, we try to use 100% renewable energy. But it may be 75%, it may be 50%. So we come in with various rates. And that's really what happens at the end of the 5 months. And then the town or the city or the village looks at it and says, you know, we're interested or we're not. Usually you are interested and usually it's a winner, but there's no cost. There's no time effort for anybody. You're not hiring anybody. There's no burden on an administrator. We do the whole thing. We have a customer service line. We have educators. We have a great testimonial base, which is really why I went with Jewel, is that they have deep pockets. They know how to do these programs really well, and they're very effective. And it's a powerful way that each citizen can lower their rate and be involved in the overall good of mankind. But really, it's a good business decision. And I'm a business guy. So I'm really not an environmentalist, although I see the positives here. So I see it from a business standpoint, this is a real winner. The only people that can't get involved are big companies with demand charges. But it's great for small business, low income people, renters. No one is excluded. No one's taken out of this program. Everybody, and they can come in or out when they feel it's appropriate. If somebody doesn't want to do it because they're not ready, and their neighbor starts to do it, and after 3 months they say, I want to be part, boom, they can go right into it. So the freedom and the flexibility is really dramatic.
So does this change their electric service provider?
No, everything's the same. So National Grid remains, the service remains the same. Nothing changes whatsoever, okay? Except on the bottom of the bill will come from National Grid. That doesn't change. It just says you're now getting renewable energy and your discount is this, something like that. It's a simple one-line item, but it doesn't change any of that. Matter of fact, National Grid works very closely with this. Really, National Grid makes their money on transmission.
So it's not a burden to the citizens to say, yes, I want in, no, I don't want it, correct? It's easy for the resident to say, I want this.
Well, first of all, yeah, it's a great question. And which is why we go through this 5-month outreach, okay? We make sure it's called opt out. So everybody is signed up. And then we go through 5 months of making sure, usually it's like 90%, 10% don't want to do it. But we make sure that 10% is notified. So we go through everybody who's a resident. We get something on the website, the city website. We go to the MRSB. We do articles. Really, this is new for Western New York. And we have a few towns that if we can work together, I think it could be really powerful. You do it yourself as well. So, but if you can get Tonawanda, North Tonawanda, Niagara Falls would be a big one. And
no
he's
cost
expressed an interest.
No cost to the city at all for the program administrator?
No, the program administrator gets paid by the ESCO. They get paid by the, for example, Rochester's electric company now is, it still remains National Grid, but they brought in Constellation, which is one of the biggest in the country to handle it. So they pay the administrator, I think it's like 0.00025 cents per kilowatt, so there's no cost. That's how we get paid. And that's, again, that's regulated by the state. That's just not, carpetbaggers coming in and wheeling and dealing. This is all a state program. So if you to really get clarity, you contact NYSERDA, they'll speak to you about Jewel. They've worked with us, and I'll send each one of you an email. It'll indicate a testimonial list of people around here. Rochester just went with us, which was very big, because that's big. Now we're speaking to the city of Buffalo, but it's really, there's not a lot of negatives. The only difference is right now, everyone's electric bill in this city, the rate changes every month. The transmission rate, the delivery rate does not change, but the supply rate changes. So this locks it in for 24 months. So there's that. But with the community solar program, right now, does anybody have, whoever has community solar, if you sign up for community solar, you go through a credit check. So my real problem with community solar has always been the fact that low income people or anyone with a credit issue is not allowed to go into community solar. But this program that's offered to the city of Tonawanda, as well as all of these communities, the community solar doesn't matter. There's no credit check, there's no contracts, there's no background checks, everybody's in, which is really a good thing. And that's an immediate discount on everybody's bill of 8 to 10%. So it's significant.
And then after after the 2 years is up, can that, obviously that rate could go up.
Yeah, after 2 years, it could go right down or up, then we renegotiate, depending on where it is. Rates right now are, I think it's an overstatement, but they are skyrocketing, electric rates, for many reasons. Typically, electric rates follow the price for natural gas and bad weather. Those two things affect the electric rates. So, but natural gas is skyrocketing. It's supposed to go up even more. So it's a challenging time right now, but it's a good time to look at this program. It really is. And then again, remember, after 5 months, after we go through all this work, we bet that you will go with it. We bet that we will be successful. But if we're not, there's no effort, there's no cost, there's no time commitment that you wasted. It's just you could hold off. There have been a number of communities that have done that. They've held off for a month or two, and they wanted rates to go down a little bit, so that's really it. That's it in a nutshell. Any other questions at all?
It just seems like like myself, we hear of other energy suppliers and we hear figures of 8–10% a cut in our utility bills. But so why doesn't National Grid just simply lower our rates? And why does it take an energy provider to come in with multiple layers in between the consumer and the state to do this for us? I'd like an explanation on that if you could shortly.
Well, National Grid, because of deregulation, National Grid is doing exactly what we're doing. Okay, the big difference is they go out every month, every minute of every day. Actually, they go out and they buy electricity from all over the country. Okay,
Sure.
they have to. I believe it's 5% renewable. Okay, it has to be 5% or something like that, 6 or something very low. And it's deregulated because they make their money only on transmission. They do that as a service for the state. So they're not making money on the supply. They're making their money because every 3 years they go through the New York State Public Service Commission and they, rates will go up, transmission, and they're many times they should, because they're working on the lines and making sure the line's appropriate, they're making sure during storms are out there. But you're gonna get, there's many ESCOs out there that are sending letters to people, okay?
I get them myself.
Exactly. So what this does, this is a way to protect the citizens of this town from unscrupulous. I've seen it. You get these low kicker rates, and then all of a sudden, 3 months later, the rate changes. But the rates are usually higher. You'll be able to, if you're a dollar trader or a stock market guy, you could probably find a better deal. You could probably find a better deal with an escrow. But there's not many people that do that. And because we go out and we have this high percentage of people, if this city goes with it, statistically, the business side of me and the business side of the business says, well, 90% at least will go with this program. 10% won't, just because they don't want to. What the people that you're getting those letters from, like there's a number of companies, they're all, they're fine. They have to get that business, so they have a higher rate. They have a higher rate. They're not like canvassing the whole city. Pretty vague answer, so sorry about that, but I'll give you something in more specifics in writing.
I'm sure we'll all look forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the specific question though is, why isn't National Grid doing the same thing? Right?
Any other
Yeah,
questions?
well, it's because they don't have to, but this works, and really the big thing on this again is our focus is renewable energy. Our focus, they don't have to do that, okay? We're bringing in this from the, and they don't have community solar. They don't have that part either. They can't do that. And the community solar is independent part of this program. So there's two parts. They just, they're limited.
Most people hear renewable energy and they think of solar panels popping up all over the place.
Well,
Wind turbine farms at 600-foot wind turbines put in the middle of beautiful country. I would like to know also, when you include that email to us, the pushback from the local communities.
lots of questions on renewable. We just feel the negatives the positives far outweigh the negatives. And that's the negatives for fossil fuel, carbon intensive energy, we believe are a lot different.
But we can agree that renewable energy is not green energy.
Well, look at renewable energy. What we do primarily for this area is small hydro, okay, river hydro. But hey, river hydro, look at, there's negatives. There's fish, fish get caught in dams, so you have to have ladders. So there's a negative there. I'm working with Cambria right now. Cambria has a solar company that's putting in 1,000 acres. They're furious. So I was out meeting with them. Community solar, or the solar that we work with throughout New York State, is 5 to 6 acre sites. You got a 1,000-acre site with all those solar panels, and you have silicon in those solar panels, and they're supposed to have 25-year life. But the technology, I know I'm involved in this business, is changing every 5 years. They're getting more and more intense, that they will be thrown out every 5 years. So Cambria and Pendleton are fighting this. 3 farmers have sold their land for this 1,000 acres. And but yeah, there's negatives to all that. You're right. But this is a business thing. I mean, I take electricity as a commodity. If we can lower the rates for the businesses and the people in this city and do a good job with it, I think it's something to look at. The negative is just not there because you have that 5 months.
Mr. Clerk, if you could just make sure that everybody's muted that's joining us virtually. Thank you.
Anyways, look, I'll get it together. We'll put something together for everybody here, a follow-up on this.
Okay, great.
And then any questions, you can just let me know, or any further questions.
Any other
right now? Okay.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Yeah, we get these questions a lot on the negativity of renewable energy. So, but
It's expected.
yeah,
Thank you so much for joining us.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
again.
All right, anything else? All right, so let's take a few minutes before we come out on the floor.
Fired up. Fired up.
Yeah, I don't know. Right. Yeah, right.
Madam President, at this time, everyone from the waiting room has been brought back into the meeting and the recording is now on.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. If you could call the meeting of the City of Tonawanda Council to order, can you please call the roll?
Nocera,
Here.
Rautenstrau,
Here.
Mylum,
Here.
Cook.
Here, if we can stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessing and help as we are gathered together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask that we would challenge each other to reach higher and farther to be the best that we can be. We ask this in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. You may be seated. So it is the first meeting of February, and per the city charter, the mayor will deliver his state of the city. So I will turn it over to Mayor White.
Thank you, Madam President. The state of the city, first of all, it's a very lengthy readings, and I will read my introduction. And the balance is for information that's available for all to read. You can grab a copy. It's also online on the webpage and the city webpage. I have a lot of information gathered by the cities. Treasurer, Bill Reese, the assessor, Dave Morano, engineering, Jason LaMonica, and myself. Please feel free to contact me at any time if you have any questions whatsoever. As I started this, my first State of the City address, I would like to start out by, unfortunately, speaking about the pandemic. COVID has been a big, large part of everybody's lives, if not for losing a loved one, then by losing somebody who was a friend or a colleague. City of Tonawanda had its first COVID antigen test and mass distribution at Tonawanda High School on January 13th from 5 to 7. These items were received by Erie County for distribution to the City of Tonawanda residents. And we did that. The results were great because of a teamwork between the professional city department heads, their staff, common council members, Chief Strasburg, Chief McNulty, Tonawanda Police Department, as well as emergency management team, and also the fire police volunteers for all their hard work. I want to say thank you. I want to say a special thanks to Dr. Timothy Oldenburg, and also the Tonawanda High School District for the use of the high school parking lot, which is a very tough spot to find where we can distribute it in an organized manner. So I wanted to say thank you. In an effort to promote health and safety and awareness and welfare of the great city employees, we've gone as far as to set up a common council or common antigen and PCR test location for all city employees. City employees working shifts that do not correspond with established business hours can be tested at the local fire department here on William Street, any hour of the day or night. Again, we want to keep our employees safe. If they're safe, they keep working. It's a win-win situation. I'm going to move forward to the end of it. Basically, moving forward, I pray that in 2022, our parks, recreation programs will be open to the public. Shelters, rentals, Kohler Pool, Gateway concerts, both sides of the canal, summer camp, Canal Street will be open, available for city residents. I'm very excited about the projects that are on the horizon and that will not only contribute to resident population in our city, but also have a positive impact on the economic growth here in the city of Tonawanda and for our local businesses. These projects include the continued development of apartments at 377 Delaware, 585 Delaware, the Karuba project on Young Street, the Karuba project on Fillmore, an indoor or an outdoor storage project on Young Street. That's at the old Gander Mountain. the anticipated residential development of Little League Drive, and several letters of intent at my office at the remaining acreage available at Spalding Fiber. Our entire team, and I want to repeat that again, our entire team here at 200 Niagara is working very hard with all developers to facilitate business growth and reoccupy existing buildings in the city of Tonawanda as the pandemic continues to affect our budgets, our finances, recreation services, and our staff. It is my belief that with a positive attitude and a united council working together with the mayor's office and all the department heads, I see nothing but positive things and blue skies ahead. And I thank you. Please take your time, grab one of these and look at it. That is the state of the city. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Communications from the mayor have been ordered and filed. Communications from city officials have also been ordered and filed. The council is not going into executive session. And prior to commenting on resolutions, we've added 2 resolutions to the agenda this evening that I will have the city clerk read.
Madam President,
Mr. Clerk?
resolution number 5. Whereas the death of Thomas Newman, council member from the first ward, has created a vacancy in the elective office of council member for the first ward in the city of Tonawanda. And whereas pursuant to the city of Tonawanda charter, which states the following: 3.027 vacancies in office. Vacancies occurring in an elective office shall be filled by the common council at its next regular meeting where practical after creation of the vacancy. The person appointed to fill a vacancy shall hold office pursuant to New York state law in the case of a tie vote. To fill a common council vacancy, the mayor shall cast the deciding vote. Whereas the common council, as the appointing body, has the power and authority to fill said vacancy. Therefore, be it resolved that common council of the city of Tonawanda hereby duly appoints Jerry Fursell, effective immediately, to fill the vacancy of the council member of the first ward in the city of Tonawanda until the date December 31st, 2022, and wherein the remainder of the unexpired term to be fulfilled following the certification of the Erie County Board of Elections of the results of the November 8th, 2022 election pursuant to New York State election law.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. And if you could also read resolution 6 that has been added.
Resolution number 6. Whereas the death of Tom Newman, council member for the first ward, has created a vacancy of elective office of the council member of the first ward in the city of Tonawanda. And whereas pursuant to the city of Tonawanda charter, which states the following: 3.027 vacancies in office. Vacancies occurring in any elective office shall be filled by the common council at its next regular meeting where practical after creation of the vacancy. The person appointed to fill a vacancy shall hold the office pursuant to New York State law. In the case of a tie vote, to fill the common council vacancy, the mayor shall cast the deciding vote. Whereas the common council, as the appointing body, has the power and authority to fill said vacancy, now therefore be resolved that the common council of the city of Tonawanda hereby duly appoints Monica Lalanich, effective immediately, to fill said vacancy of the common council, said vacancy as the council member for the first ward in the city of Tonawanda until the date of December 31st, 2022, and wherein the remainder of the unexpired term to be fulfilled following the certification of the Erie County Board of Elections of the results of the November 8th, 2022 election pursuant to the New York State election law.
Okay, prior to us moving forward, Mr. Attorney, City Attorney, the verbiage is correct?
That is correct, Madam Chair.
Okay, so we can
We
proceed?
agreed that the appointment would be until December 31st.
Okay. Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public on the resolutions. For those that are joining us virtually, there is a spot for you to raise your hand. Please do so and the clerk will call upon you. For those that are joining us in person, feel free to approach the microphone. Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, do you
Excuse me?
have any comments?
Madam
Cyphus.
President, I have a comment by an individual on the Zoom call.
Mrs.
Gail
Cyphus?
Cyphus. Go ahead.
On the resolutions, the 5 and 6, did I hear something in there mentioning December 31st of 2022? Because the appointment should be only until the Board of Elections certifies the election this November,
Mr.
which
City
would be
Attorney?
before December 31st.
Yes, so the resolution does state until the date of December 31st. This was reviewed by our city attorney and deputy city attorney. Did you have anything else to add?
Madam President, we reviewed the opinions from the Attorney General's office and from Public Officers Law. We believe that because this election is occurring at a general election and not a special election, that the appointment would be good until December 31st, 2022. Our charter specifically says in the event of a special election, this is not, then the person elected would take the office within 15 days after certification of the election results. But this is a general election. Therefore, Public Officers Law says that the appointed person would serve until the end of the year.
Madam President, do we need to change the verbiage in these resolutions? It says special election in the last sentence of both. So do we need to change that to general election?
Mr. Milo, we have changed it with the city clerk. I believe when you read it, we took out that verbiage.
Okay, I just thought he skipped that word. when he was there. Okay.
Mr.
I just want to make sure everything's on the up and up.
Mr. Clerk, can you just confirm the last, you've removed special election, correct?
I just removed the word special in the last sentence.
Okay,
At the recommendation of the city attorney. And also I added the word unexpired in front of the word remainder of the term.
okay,
So it says remainder of the unexpired term to be fulfilled following the certification by the Erie County Board of Elections of the results of the November 8th, 2022 election pursuant to New York State election law.
okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions on the resolutions? Mr. Clerk, do you have anyone who's joining us virtually that wishes to address the council on the resolutions?
Madam President, I do not have any other individuals in the Zoom call looking to make any comments on the resolutions.
Okay, then let's roll.
Resolution number 1 by Councilmember Rautenstrau.
I'll second.
I'm just sharing that Resolved that the common council minutes from January 18th, 2022 be accepted as filed.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 2 by Councilmember Rautenstrau.
Do we have a second?
I'll take it, Madam President.
Second by Mr. Mylum.
Resolved that the recommendation of the city attorney, Jason J. Lamonaco, P.E., that award of the contract for the CDBG sanitary sewer lining 2021 change order number 2 be made to National Water Main Cleaning Company at a credit to the city of Tonawanda in the amount of $3,831.80.
Comments or questions?
Rare that we get a credit.
All right. Please call the roll.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 3 by Councilmember Rautenstrau.
Do we have a second?
I'll take it.
Second by Mr. Nocera.
Resolved that the 2022 general fund operating budget be amended by the common council during the February 1st, 2022 council meeting to set up the expenses related to the cost of the city assessment project from the ARPA funding as per your agenda.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 4 by the council, seconded by the council. Resolved at the recommendation of the police chief, William Strasberg, that the hourly rate of pay for the positions of matron and crossing guards be raised effective immediately to the following: matron $20 per hour and crossing guard $12.50 per hour.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 5 by Councilmember Rautenstrau. I'm sorry, by Councilmember Mylum.
Seconded by Mr. Rautenstrau.
Whereas the death of Tom Newman, council member from the first ward, has created a vacancy in the elective office of the council member of the first ward in the city of Tonawanda. And whereas that the pursuant to the city of Tonawanda charter, which states the following: section 3.027, vacancies in office. Vacancies occurring in any elective office shall be filled by the common council at its next regularly meeting where practical after creation of the vacancy. The person appointed to fill the vacancy shall hold office pursuant to New York State law. In the case of a tie vote to fill a common council vacancy, the mayor shall cast the deciding vote. Whereas the common council, as the appointing body, has the power and authority to fill said vacancy. Now therefore be resolved that the common council of the city of Tonawanda hereby appoints Gerald Frizzell, effective of immediately, to fill said vacancy as a council member for the first ward in the city of Tonawanda until the date of December 31st, 2022. And wherein the remainder of the unexpired term to be fulfilled following the certification by the Erie County Board of Elections of the result of the November 8th, 2022 election pursuant to New York State election law.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Nocera,
Nay.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
Nay. This resolution has resulted in a tie. Pursuant to the city charter, this resolution is pending for the mayor's vote.
Resolution number 6 by Councilmember Nocera. Seconded by Council President Cook. Whereas the death of Tom Newman, council member of the first ward, has created a vacancy in the elective office of the council member for the first ward in the city of Tonawanda. And whereas that the pursuant to the city of Tonawanda charter, which states the following, section 3.027, vacancies in office. Vacancies occurring in any elective office shall be filled by the common council at its next regular meeting, where practical, after creation of the vacancy. The person appointed to fill the vacancy shall hold office pursuant to New York State law. In the case of a tie vote to fill the common council vacancy, the mayor shall cast the deciding vote. Whereas the common council, as the appointing body, has the power and authority to fill said vacancy. Now therefore be resolved that this common council of the city of Tonawanda hereby duly appoints Monica Lalanich, effective immediately, to fill the said vacancy as the council member for the first ward in the city of Tonawanda until the date of December 31st, 2022, and wherein the remainder of the unexpired term of to be fulfilled following the certification by the Erie County Board of Elections of the result of the November 8th, 2022 election pursuant to New York State election law.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Nay.
Mylum,
Nay.
Cook.
Aye. So this resolution has resulted in a tie per the city charter. This resolution is pending for the mayor's vote. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public following the resolutions. For those that are joining us in person, please feel free to approach the microphone. For those that are joining us virtually, there is a spot for you to raise your hand. Please do so and we will call on you. Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, are there any participants who are joining us virtually that wish to comment following the resolutions?
Madam President, at this time, I do not show anyone in the Zoom call looking to make any comments.
Okay, Mr. Rautenstrau.
I just really wanted to just reiterate, thank you for, to all the candidates who came up and took the time to speak. I appreciate the interest and I look forward to a final decision. Thank you.
Mr. Mylum?
I think the same, it takes a lot to come out, and that interview process was not easy. It was more of an inquisition than an interview. So congratulations to everybody who stepped up and came out and did it. In talking with the mayor in between times, I know that whatever decision is made, we're going to be in good hands. So, I think we're on the right track. Also this week, starting not Wednesday, Thursday, I will be, well, weather dependent, trying to walk the length of Hackett to start the polling process for those folks about the fence in their yard. Most likely, that will be phone calls this week due to the weather situation that we're being told about. If that, but if weather permitting, I'd rather go face to face. So look for that and we'll have a result on the fence issue forthcoming. Thank you and be safe to everybody out there with this next storm.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Mr. Nocera.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple things. Our second podcast with the city, The Talk of Tonawanda is the name of it. It's up on Podbean and it's a free app to download. And the name of it is The Talk of Tonawanda. And it's just a general podcast about the interesting happenings going on in the city of Tonawanda. And we hope to have some more guests that participate in it. Also, the little newsletter that I'm putting together with the help of all the council members and the mayor, it's the Tonawanda Times is the name of that. And the publishing date is going to be the 10th. And if you're interested in receiving the Tonawanda Times by email, you can call me and text my phone number. It's 716-812-3730, and just leave me the message that you are interested in receiving the Tonawanda Times, and I'll email that to you. We've gotten a lot of interest on Facebook. We've got over 65 subscribers already. It hasn't even gone out yet. So I encourage everybody, if you want to have a little newsletter of what's going on in the city of Tonawanda, we are welcoming your input from small business owners to citizens or groups, service organizations, whatever you would like to see in there. We welcome that and I'll make room. Thanks again.
Thank you, Mr. Nocera. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam President. Couple things. Number one, I want to say thank you to both Michael and Brittany. I know you're back there somewhere, but they went through some difficult times back there, but we appreciate all the work they did tonight, and thank you very much. Also, that this is not, I don't take this lightly. This is a very difficult decision. Unfortunately, this legislative decision was thrown on my back. I don't mind it, because I think the candidates that we're looking at, it's going to be for the best interest of the city. There's so many good ones that came out, and I want to thank all the candidates for coming out. I think it was just shows a great response to a need to fill a void, and all the people that came forward. I just want to say thank you. I think it was a great thing to see. And I also want to let you know that we've got next meeting, which is the last one of the month, is we're going to thank a vet. We're going to thank a veteran the last Tuesday or second meeting of every month. And we've got our first one in. And I want to thank them. Living, deceased, you can go to the Vietnam Veterans Association, you can go to the American Legion, you can go to the VFW, they'll have applications. There's also applications in my office. I'd like to fulfill that because I want to say thank you and welcome home to all of our veterans.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm really pleased to report that our LED conversion project is coming along nicely. We're at 82% complete. So I know the mayor and the administrative assistant participated in a construction update call. Those are happening weekly. So if you experience an outage, please call the mayor's office so that they can add it to the sheet and review with our contractor. We do anticipate that the project will be completed at the end of February, so stay tuned for more information on that. I want to thank the mayor for his State of the City. I know how much time he worked on that, so we certainly appreciate that. Shortly after my comments, we'll be meeting with William Brown. He had submitted a letter of interest, Innovative Mechanical Systems, regarding purchasing some acres at Spalding Fiber. So we'll be meeting with him. I see he's here now to talk about the project, so we look forward to that. We have a lot of projects, concepts, resolutions on our horizon, and I'm excited to get to work with a full council. I'm also looking forward to a meeting that the council has in March with Lindsay Dzilski, who's a COT resident, who met with the mayor regarding a proposal for nature play space at Veterans Park and other City of Tonawanda parks. So we'll be meeting with her in March. I'd like to thank Thomas Hardy from Jewel Community Power for his presentation this evening. I felt it was very insightful, and I appreciate the information that he provided us so the council can review. The last time the city of Tonawanda, and I know our city historian is here, so he'll correct me after I'm done if I'm incorrect, but the last time the city of Tonawanda lost a sitting councilman was 86 years ago. So certainly this is a very unique situation. And, you know, I really commend all of the candidates who came forward and expressed an interest in serving our late Councilman Newman's seat. It certainly made our deliberations difficult, but I enjoyed getting to know you all for the brief 10 to 15 minutes that we met with everybody. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't say stay active in government. No matter how this falls, I believe we'll have a good replacement. And I look forward to hearing the mayor's decision after he's reviewed both resolutions and voted accordingly. But I don't think it's ever resulted in a tie. So this is another unique situation in itself. And, you know, I commend each of us up here for doing our due diligence and looking at all the candidates that presented to us. I know this was not an easy decision by any means. I've spoken with many of you, and we've certainly lost some night's sleep over this. But you know, we're ready to get back to work. Whoever the candidate is after the mayor has reviewed everything. So I know this was a difficult decision. This certainly doesn't divide us by any means. I agree with my colleagues who supported one candidate, and I agree with everyone's position on it, but we certainly have a job to do, and I respect everybody more so for that. I know this was certainly a tough decision. So, and then the voters, you know, will decide in the general election. With that said, I have nothing further. And I will welcome William Brown from Innovative Mechanical Systems to come forward. So, gentlemen, just so you know, we stream our meeting on Zoom. So if you can just make sure that your comments are reflected in the minutes and on the microphone, that would be great. Hi.
I am Joe Brown, Innovative Mechanical Systems on Young Street. I'm interested in some that was brought me into this issue. If you guys are familiar with it. We came up with a concept of interested in pursuing.
Mr. Brown, do you know everybody up here?
Just tonight, I met the mayor.
So to my right is second ward Councilman Carl Nocera. I'm Jenna Cook, the council president. Mayor John White, third ward Councilman Sean Rautenstrau, and fourth ward Councilman David Milam. So we do have your letter of interest if you want to go through it with us on what you plan to do up at Spalding.
Well, I was looking at moving our offices and our shop, little sheet metal shop there. Looking at about 15,000 square foot. 3,500.
One down a little bit. Thank you.
3,500 in offices and the rest in the shop.
We're in the process of preparing rendering and floor plans. We still don't have full set up for the project, so it's very early, but we're looking to expand the business on Young. Spalding property is very appealing, so shovel ready is always a great thing. So it's looks like a perfect opportunity for us to really take a closer look at the project.
So I have a question. you said you were moving the office to Spalding, and then you said you were expanding it. So will you maintain the office on Young Street and,
Right now, we're looking at the property on Young Street to expand the office and physical shop area. It's problematic because there's not enough room to really answer all the questions. So we're looking at the property on Spalding to move the entire operation over to Spalding. Both office, manufacturing, we'll have a parking area and outdoor storage for bringing the materials, stage, process them, and then taking to the job sites.
oh, this is great. And you've worked with Pyramid?
We've been talking to Pyramid about negotiation.
Questions?
About how many folks do you guys employ?
We have 30 there.
Great. Do you see that expanding?
Yes.
That's awesome.
What attracted you to that location?
I've been looking at that property for quite some time. There's some administration, bringing in a live work environment. And we missed the opportunity when CAD came in. So we're looking at all 40 acres to do that project. And, so I worked together with Bill quite a bit and then presented the opportunity to look at Spalding project. I like the proximity of we work out all the conflicts, so it's just, we have a bunch of trucks that come back to the shop.
So just so everybody knows what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at 310 Wheeler Street. And I believe you're looking at, or you're looking to purchase 4 acres on the Hackett side, right? Heinz and, okay, yeah. But this is, yeah, okay. Okay, so 4 acres. Right.
Still trying to figure out the flow and everything to make sure the property, the backside seems to be a little bit larger, but we're still focused on Heinz.
Okay, okay, perfect. That answers my question.
Are you guys planning on some sort of privacy fence or something like that for the residents to?
Just the landscaping and everything, so we'll address all those issues. The building that we're trying to do is, it's gonna be on the nicer side, so it's not a pole barn by any means.
Right.
It's gonna be a metal building with very attractive office.
Thank you. I know the residents appreciate that. Too. Thank you.
Have a good neighbors.
Right. Yeah, this is nice, great, yeah. And you're looking to purchase it for how much?
Right now, I think the number was $30,000.
Correct. Okay. This is great. Questions? Anybody else have questions?
No, just thank you for staying in Tonawanda.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Yeah, I know you'd have opportunities to go elsewhere, so yes, as Councilman Mylum said, thank you for,
So as we develop plans, we'll come back and we'll
Okay.
share those with you. Hopefully, we're looking at, I guess, the IDA information and sales tax, work performance and see what size building we can actually put there. The larger the better, so we look forward to future expansion and not have to worry about that.
but the minimum purchase was 4 acres, right?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Those are my questions. Anybody else?
Oh, great. I think it's wonderful. Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. And once you get those renderings, if you could just send them over to the mayor and the city clerk. Go from there.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. It was nice to meet you. Yeah, do you have questions? Oh. You sure?
It's a nice location.
Oh, it's a beautiful location. Okay, so once you get that, if you just want to forward it to us. All right, anything else? No? Good. All right, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Everybody. Second by Mr. Mylum. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
This time we'll be ending the Zoom call. Thank you for participating in the call this evening. Have a great night and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks. Take care.
Yes.